Hello world, welcome to my cooking show, Cooking with Maestro. Because of popular demand, I'm bringing back a special guest, Chef Phil. Thank you, Phil, for coming in again and doing our show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad the first time I was here I didn't scare you away, so you're inviting me back, so it's a privilege to be back here, and I'm happy to share another simple recipe.
Well, the things that you did last time was really amazing and everybody loved it, so because of popular demand, here you are. I'm gonna leave the kitchen for you and enjoy the show.
Awesome, thank you, Navi.
You're welcome.
Okay, hello again, everybody. So kind of following the theme of the last time I was here, the last dish I made was shrimp toast, and I said that it was so easy that a 7-year-old could make. This dish is actually even simpler. I think a 5-year-old can make it. So this particular dish, I tried it at one of my wife's favorite restaurants, and it was so good and it seemed so easy to make, so I went home and I replicated it myself. It only consists of 3 simple ingredients, which I'm going to share with you right now. So it consists of pistachio, and what you're going to do with pistachio is, of course, you're going to have to shell it. Afterwards, the way to grind it up is you use a coffee grinder, and you basically grind it up to a coarse level, not like espresso, but more coarse. Goat cheese, there's all kinds of goat cheese. There's crumbled goat cheese, there's a log like I have here. There's also different types of flavor infused goat cheeses. I've tried truffle goat cheese and it goes really well with this dish. And lastly, grapes. Here I'm using just regular seedless green grapes. My preference is to use muscat grapes. They're perfectly round and they're a lot sweeter. So I couldn't find that today, but today we're gonna use regular green grapes. A very important part of making this dish though is when you use the grapes, make sure that they're really dry. So make sure you get a paper towel or something and make sure it's dry, because when it's wet and you try to put the goat cheese around, it's not gonna stick well. So make sure it's dry. And of course, last but not least, make sure your hands are clean. Wash it nice and thoroughly so that your guests don't, taste anything interesting besides from this. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So we're gonna take this grape, and again, this is not perfectly round, it's oval, but we'll try to make it round when we put the cheese around it. So get some cheese, just kind of layer it all around. And it's not gonna be perfect when you put it around, okay? But you just want to get enough to kind of provide enough coverage. And once you have enough coverage, it looks kind of messy here, but amazing things happen when you put it in between your hand and roll it very lightly. So here we have a pretty round ball. Dump it in here. You could dump it in here and start rolling with the pistachio, or you can make a few. I prefer to make a few in here and then do it, because if you do it, you can get pistachio all over your hand. So while you're working with the cheese and grape, might as well do multiple ones and dump it in here first. So you get another grape, make sure it's dry, and then we're ready to put more cheese. And while I'm making this, gonna share how to eat this, or this is great as a quick appetizer to serve before a dinner. The way that I'm gonna plate it and present it, it's gonna look really fancy. So it's something so easy that you can impress your guests at. This is also something that you can use for a charcuterie board. It has basically all the elements: cheese, nuts, fruit. So and it presents great. You'll see at the end. Another perfect one. Dump it here. And another thing about this dish that makes it really good, other than it being simple and easy, is you can make it ahead of time. I always make this overnight ahead of time, because after you roll this into the pistachio, you're gonna need to put it in the fridge probably for about half an hour to an hour, just to let it sit, because when you're rolling cheese on in your hands and rolling it in pistachio, it starts to melt a little bit. So later when you're gonna slice it into for presentation reasons, it's gonna slice a lot better when the cheese is a little bit more solid than when it's melted. So I'm gonna finish making this one and I'm gonna roll it in the pistachio so you don't have to watch me roll 1,000 grapes. All right, so we got 4. Now it's time for rolling. So the rolling part, again, you just get the pistachio, roll it around, get good coverage. Now afterwards, just roll it a little bit more lightly. The key is you need to roll it really light. If you roll it hard, it's not gonna be around. And you wanna get good coverage on there. So after you roll it, it looks like that. I didn't really mention any portions. As you can see, you can't really measure this. You just get enough cheese, enough grapes, enough pistachios, and you make as many as you can. It's such an easy recipe. All right, so with the magic of time travel, we quickly moved from 4 grapes to 14 grapes in a matter of seconds. And so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna plate it for you. Gazillion different ways you can plate it, but one thing I definitely like to do for some of the presentation is like to cut it in half, and I'm gonna show you why. Make sure your knife is really sharp, because if it's not sharp, you're gonna kind of just break up the entire shell. So if it's sharp, it should cut right into it, and then it's gonna look really cool like this. Really nice presentation. But I'm gonna cut a few and I'm gonna start plating it, and you'll see how amazing this can look. Okay. And actually, here's some actual grape leaves from Nove's garden. He has some grapes growing in his backyard. Not over yet, let's do some other stuff. Some toothpicks for some of these. All right, so there you have it. This is a goat cheese pistachio grape. Nove, you want to come and have a try?
Yes, well,
Wow, thank you.
you're welcome. There's a reason why the people loved you, and because of popular demand, you're back in my home kitchen. And I can see from the presentation, it's really amazing. Only for 3 ingredients and takes the air of elegance. So I'm gonna try it.
Speechless.
There's so many layers into this. It's like tasting a very good wine. Amazing. The pistachio, the goat cheese, and the grapes really binds perfectly together. I'm gonna drink that with my beautiful rosé. Thank you
Cheers.
again,
Glad
Chef
you
Phil.
enjoyed it.
Thank you again, folks, for joining us in Cooking with Maestro. And looking forward to seeing you again in our next episode. Don't forget to subscribe down there. All right? I'm your host, Chef Nove. Cheers.
Cheers.